Hello, everyone. I'm Shami Williams, Director of Alumni Engagement with the Alumni Association of Case Western Reserve University, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. We hope that you and your loved ones are healthy and safe. Before we get to the program, I'd like to give a few housekeeping notes. Everyone is muted by default, but you do have the ability to unmute yourselves for our question and answer portion of the program and for breakout room conversations. For now, please remain muted to limit background noise during the presentations. So that we know who you are, please make sure your name appears correctly in this meeting. You can rename yourself by clicking on Participants, finding your name, then using the More option and selecting Rename. If you've submitted questions ahead of time, they have been passed on to our presenters. If you'd like to ask a question during the program, you may do so utilizing the chat feature. We will do our best to get to as many questions as we possibly can. Finally, please turn on your video if you can. We like to see your smiling faces. To our incoming students and parents, we're so excited that you've chosen CWRU and promise that our school will earn that decision. The university granted degrees in May to more than 1,100 undergraduates during our first ever virtual commencement ceremony. This unique experience not only confirmed that CWRU attracts talented, persevering students from across the country and around the world, including those of you who are just beginning your amazing experience. It is important for you to know that the university has made a commitment to the Student Success Initiative. Incoming and current students now have their own navigator, a person on campus who works as an advocate and resource for our students. This person will work lockstep with academic advisors to encourage success at every level of a student's experience at CWRU. In fact, one of them's joined us today. We also have alumni and our campus partners in attendance to share their experience and knowledge about life on campus. We're honored to have you, and we hope that what you learn at Case Western Reserve inside and outside of the classroom will lead you to a lifetime of thinking beyond the possible. Again, welcome to Case Western Reserve University. It gives me great pleasure to wish you health, happiness, and lots of success at CWRU. And now I'd like to introduce our alumni host this evening. Arnold Huffman is a 1993 graduate of the Case School of Engineering and former men's basketball player for the university. He is the CEO of Digital Yellow, a marketing and communications firm. Arnold and his family reside in Atlanta, Georgia. He is presently serving his first term as president of the CWRU Alumni Association Board. Please welcome Arnold Huffman.
Great, thanks, Sammy. It's great to be here and to be a part of this event tonight and welcoming all of you to the Spartan family. I use the word Spartan a lot because having played athletics, that meant a lot to us and representing the school when we did that. So in my background here, actually, you can see the football field and the Wyant Athletic Center behind me. And when I went to school in '93, this was actually a field. So that all of that beauty was not there. So you were coming into a wonderful campus at this point, and has grown exponentially since my time there in the '90s. But it's a wonderful place to come to be at this athletic facility. The other thing about Case, being where it's located in Cleveland and East Cleveland, it's a wonderful little enclave of for the university, especially being built right in the heart of the museums and the arts there in East Cleveland. So they've asked me to come and talk to you all tonight about entering the school and my experience and growth through my time at Case Western. So when I left high school, certainly I didn't have any specific ideas about what I thought I was going to do in terms of my career path. I was good at chemistry, I was good at math, and so what that led to was my guidance counselor telling me or giving me the input that maybe you should go into chemical engineering. So Case Western was one of the universities I applied to. For me, being from North Ohio, going to Case Western was a nice location for me because I was still close enough to my family and my family could come see me play athletics and basketball. So that was a nice location for us. I had other offers in other places, Princeton, and other areas to go to school and play basketball, but I chose Case ultimately for its location and as the strength of the engineering curriculum. So now, when I made that decision, little did I know how challenging it was going to be, but at the end of the day, it certainly was all worthwhile. So you might wonder, how does a chemical engineer undergraduate transfer in the course of their career into being a CEO of a marketing agency of all things? So I've had a very fortunate career that has moved me from being an engineer into consulting, into actually software, and then over to the marketing side. So I've been able to dabble in a lot of things, and dabble, when I say dabble, I mean 8 to 10 years at a time. So none of those were short stints by any stretch of the imagination, but I learned so much at Case in terms of building the foundation, the skills and capabilities that have enabled me to operate in all of these different fields throughout my career. So let's talk about Case Western and what you'll face when you come in. Most of you are probably near or at the very top of your class coming out of high school. You've done very well. I will tell you that with pretty much no uncertain terms, you will meet people that have done more amazing things or accomplished more amazing things than you have, even when you get onto campus. And that will be a very humbling experience, but it's also a very challenging experience that will make you better. And so the challenges that CWRU will present to you are the other folks that you will meet on campus, your professors, and the curriculum that they will put in front of you that you will have to persevere and work through. And that is what will make you stronger. That is what will prepare you for life and success afterwards. You won't feel like it at the time. It will be hard, but it is definitely rewarding coming through that on the other side. And I can tell you that when my friends and I graduated at the end of our 4 years, we definitely felt like we had accomplished something. Every day, the university will challenge you, and it's not just the university. Your peers and your colleagues and those who are in class with you will be a challenge as well, because they are so excellent at what they're doing and what they're accomplishing that it will continue to force you to raise your game. And that level of challenge and that level of competition, I think really prepares you and really steels you for the future. And it helps you in multiple ways. So one of the things I'll give you as an anecdote, as a math and engineer and chemical kid coming into Case Western, I was pretty shy, pretty reserved sort of person. And one of the elective classes I took in my freshman year was a communications class. And actually it was probably about the furthest point you could go from my dorm to this class on campus, which made it very hard to get there twice a week. It was a Tuesday, Thursday class. So, but I will never forget this class, even though it wasn't one of the core curriculum things I had to take as far as engineering, math, and chemistry. But this communications class really taught me a lot about kind of breaking out of your shell and not being afraid to take some chances. And the beauty of the class was that every day, everybody had to give 2 speeches, and it was 2 to 3 minutes every speech. And in the course of the semester, you were required to do, I think, 80% of every speech, of all those speeches. So you didn't have to do every single one. But the trick was, during class, he would not pick anybody to actually speak. It was on you to get up and go to the front of the class and actually give your speech. And through that process, you were forced to put yourself in position to succeed. Now, as time ran out on each session for a speech and you hadn't gone yet, you were forced to get a little edgier to try to get up there and deliver your speech. And what would happen is, if you missed one, it wasn't the end of the world, but at the end of the day, you knew you were going to have to do 80% of them through the course of the semester. So that process was really, I loved his teaching method that really made you get out of your shell and get up in front of the class and deliver your speech. You weren't forced to do it. You weren't picked on to do it, but you were in a competition to get it done, and you had a minimum requirements of 80% of those to do in the semester. And we had some amazing speeches. I still remember one of the speeches we had to do was to actually sing a song in front of the class, a cappella. And we had another student who was from, I believe from Dubai, and he actually sang The Gambler by Kenny Rogers in his native accent, which made it all the more amazing and that much more pleasurable. So those are elements, or those are memories from that class that I'll never forget. So that's a great example of how CASE will challenge you in different ways than you ever thought you might be. I also played basketball, as I mentioned. So I played for Coach Sudek. You'll see when you get on campus in the Horsburgh Gymnasium, there's a bust of Coach Sudek now. He was there for 34 or 36 years. He had been there forever when I got there, and he was there forever after I left even. But he was a great mentor, a great guider of many of the young men that came through the basketball program. And the reason I mention that is that that was one of the places on the basketball court and in the gym that I forged a lot of great relationships from my time at Case Western. And those friendships still maintained today. All of those folks have gone on to have tremendous amounts of success in their own curriculum or in their own careers, and have done exactly what they wanted to do out of those careers. So we had, I've had, one of my roommates was is now the CEO of his own civil engineering firm. Another roommate of mine is the chief deputy credit officer of a major bank. And another friend of mine has been the CFO of multiple major publicly traded companies. So those are just a few examples of the relationships that you'll make on campus. And those relationships will last for many, many years going forward. So those are some key elements of my time on campus and things that I take away from it. I'm very proud to still be affiliated with the university. My relationship with the university has really kind of grown and expanded over the last couple of years, being on the alumni board for now, I think this is the end of my third year, and this being my first year as the alumni board president. So really excited about all the things that CASE continues to do and all the capabilities that they're instilling in our young students and future leaders. And again, really proud to just be a part of it and the opportunity to see where this will go. As you might know, Barbara Snyder, our current president, is moving on, but she's leaving a great legacy, an incredible foundation at the university that will only continue to grow and expand. So that's a little bit about my background and being a part of CWRU and being a Spartan on campus.
Thank you so much, Arnold. Really appreciate it. Sounds like you really have some wonderful memories to look back on from your time here at CWRU. I'd like to take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Chris Reiber, and Tiana Ellington, who's also here with us as well. We are the Assistant Directors of Chapter and Regional Programming for the Alumni Association here at CWRU. Also from our alumni team, tonight we have Katie O'Malley and Kate McCreary, who will be assisting us with the breakout rooms at the conclusion of our program this evening. And then you'll also hear from Michael Mason, who is the Director of Student Advancement and one of the navigators for the university, and Laura Papcom, the Assistant Director of Alumni Career Services. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you all this evening, and really excited for what's coming up here in the next. Wow, it's like less than a month now before classes begin, Discover Days. It's just a real exciting time. So I'll try not to take too much time up and just kind of providing a quick overview, but as was said, my name is Michael Mason. I'm the Director of Student Advancement here at Case Western Reserve, and we are actually part of the Student Success Initiative, which you may have heard about. I know it was mentioned earlier in the program. Really what we're about here in Student Success is being able to help students really make the most of their undergraduate experience with us. And so we do that in a lot of different ways. You'll hear more from my colleague, Laura Papcom, who works in the postgraduate planning office, which is sort of, part of, we're all under the same student success umbrella. But really, when we think about student success, we think of it as a team sort of endeavor. So here at the university, you're going to have people like academic advisors. You'll have career consultants, so people like Laura and others who work in postgraduate planning. There's lots of folks who work within different aspects of the campus and community, whether it's in student organizations or leadership programs, community programs. Your first year experience team, you're going to meet your orientation leaders here in a few weeks. You've been working through the roadmap, and you've been doing other sort of things to kind of get ready for your Case Western experience. We have an academic resources office that helps students really just excel to the greatest extent possible in their courses. And then your navigator is really at the center of that. So I'm sure you've all met your navigators already. You probably had a Zoom call at least with them, maybe multiple at this point. But your navigator is that person who's going to be with you from start to finish, no matter what you end up doing, whether you change your major once or twice, or you get involved in different organizations over the course of your time here, you get involved in different opportunities. You always have that go-to person who is your navigator, who's going to be able to help you through that experience and really make the most of it. We really focus on relationships. That's key. That's why we really, want to get to know you as individuals over the summer before you even step foot on campus, to know who you are, what your aspirations are, what your goals are. That just helps us to provide you with greater support. We look at things holistically. So, we're not academic advisors. We're not, just one specific category of student support. We take a holistic, view of the student experience. We realize that your academic life, your social life, your, professional life, all these things really, they come together as one experience for you. And so we treat it that way. And so your navigator is going to be asking you not just, how are your classes going, but how's your social life? What kind of things you get involved with? How have your goals and aspirations changed over time? How much are you sleeping each night? Different aspects of wellness, really just concerned about you as a whole person. And really to be that go-to resource. So there's going to be times where you're going to, have questions, you're going to have things that you're going to need to do, different, offices or, things that you're going to have to take care of as a student, just sort of the day-to-day business requirements to pay attention to, all that kind of stuff. Your navigator is going to be a person who you can always turn to with those kind of questions. If it's a question that, is kind of in our wheelhouse, then certainly we'll help you out with it. And sometimes we might just be that connector for you to get you, to the right person on campus who's the expert in that particular area. So we really just want to help you develop a sense of belonging and a sense of, community here on campus. We do a lot, focus on things like goal setting, really wanting to help you, keep that forward momentum going, which we know is really what brought you here in the first place. A lot of you are very, ambitious, and you have big ideas, big dreams, and we want to help you achieve those. And so we want to, like I said, be that resource for you, be that supporter, be that person who's going to, not just welcome you here on the front end, but, be there cheering you on when you walk across the stage in 4 years getting that diploma. So I wanted to keep it brief, and I hope I did that. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague, Laura Papcom from Postgrad Planning, to tell you a little bit more about some of the things that go on in her office.
Hi, thanks, Michael. Okay, can you hear me okay? It says unmute myself, which I did. Oh, Cool. Awesome. I would like to say welcome and congratulations to everybody. This is really exciting, and we are so happy to have you here at Case Western Reserve University. So postgraduate planning and experiential education seems like a really long name for what used to be known as the Career Center. But with our student success, one thing we've come to realize is not every student is about their career. A lot of times students are looking to go on to medical school or professional school or law school, or maybe even something else. And so within our office, not only do we offer career consulting, but we also have postgraduate planning for pre-health, pre-med, pre-law, and we also have our source office, which is our student opportunities for undergraduate research endeavors. And so with all that being said, let me share with you my screen and tell you a little bit more about postgraduate planning and experiential education. So, first of all, as I said, we offer pre-professional advising, career and major exploration, and source. So let me show you our webpage, because that'll give you the best idea of what we have to offer. Something I would love to encourage you, a lot of times students think that they shouldn't come and visit postgraduate planning and experiential education until they're a senior and they're graduating and maybe they've done everything themselves, but now they think they need a little bit of help. Well, I encourage you to come and see us right off the bat, because we are there to help you, even if you're wondering about your major, wondering what you can do with your major. There's so many different things that we can help you with. First thing I'd like to show you is something that I think you would all be very interested in, especially your families or your, what I call your board of, oops, I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought, your board of directors. This is our outcomes and data. And what's really nice about this is that this gives you an idea that you can look and see students that have majored in whatever you've majored in and see what things they're doing after graduation. We offer something called a first destination survey, and we survey all of our graduating seniors to ask what they're doing, where they're living, who they're working for, or are they going on to get professional education as in med school, dental school, etc. You can look at this on our website. You can see all our first destination survey reports. You can look at the typical employers and industries that hire our case students. And a lot of people ask the question, well, because you're in Cleveland, do you only work with Cleveland employers? Absolutely not. We know that 75% or more of our students come from outside the Cleveland area. And so here in postgraduate planning and experiential education, we have a designated employer relations team that work with employers from all over the country to get them involved and engaged. And you can see some of our top employers and industries. You can see our employment states. Well, I'm proud to say that yes, most of our students do stay in Ohio, or a big majority of them do, because they learn to love it here, even if they're not from here. But California is a great big one. Texas, you can see we've got a lot of students there, New York. So we do have students that graduate and go all over the country and literally go all over the world. We can look by cities, and we can even see salaries. So we do a salary range as well. So again, as you're thinking about majors, as you're wondering what can I do with a major in, or what are other students in my major doing, this is a great resource for you. The other thing I'd like you to become familiar with is our resource called Handshake. So Handshake, again, you'll find that on our website. That is our opportunity to work with you and let you get in, create a profile in Handshake, and access everything career related that we have going on. So there are events posted in there. We have got a lot of employers that are already scheduling information sessions, recruiting sessions, and if you go into those events, you will see everything virtually that's happening. We also this year are going to be hosting a virtual career fair, which is something new for us. So typically every year we have a career fair in the fall and in the spring. And this year we will be having 3 specific career fairs in the fall, all virtual: our business career fair, our engineering, data science, and tech career fair, and our community's pre-health and humanities career fair. So again, make sure that you take a look at Handshake on our website, create your profile, and even upload a resume. And so that makes me segue to my next thing I want to show you. So we've got lots of resources. I know somebody's going to say to you, do you have a resume? Have you worked on a resume? A lot of times students say, well, I don't know how to make a resume. So again, on our website that I showed you, we've got a book called the Career Search Guide. And this is a downloadable, printable PDF that actually the staff of postgraduate planning and experiential education wrote. And so if you look through this Career Search Guide, this is going to give you all sorts of information: how to choose a major, why do I need to network, what is experiential education, what's the difference between a practicum and an internship and a co-op, and there is a great section about how to write a resume with all sorts of resources. And you can click right on it and you can find out how to write a resume. And we even offer you some great examples. Once you've completed and worked on your resume, then you can schedule an appointment with one of the career consultants and have us take a look at it, give you some feedback. We also have student career interns that offer Career Lab, which is a drop-in service that students can use. Again, we'll be doing this virtually in the fall, and you'll be able to go into the waiting room and then meet with a career intern or a fellow student to give you advice and help on your resume. The last thing I want to show you is we've had a wonderful alum kick us off tonight, and our alum are so engaged and so involved with students. And alum are always saying, what can I do to help a student? And students are always asking, how can I meet an alum? Well, we have worked with another alum, John Knifick, who's helped develop Wiser. And Wiser is a platform for our Career Connect and Crew Connect and our Alumni Career Network. This is a platform of 1,700 plus students and alumni who've created profiles in this platform. And with these profiles, you can search and you actually can reach out to an alum or to a fellow student to connect and do an informational interview with or ask about their careers. So again, you can look through alum, you can look by major, you can look by alum that are willing to help with maybe suggesting some classes to take or speaking on an alumni panel or hosting a network event. So let's take a look there, see our alum, and then I can send a message or I can schedule in a call with an alum. And what's so nice about this is with networking, a lot of times people say, I don't know what to say, how do I network? This does it for you. You can create an agenda. What do you want to talk to that alum about? I'd like to talk about an overview of your career path. Well, look at this. It creates the email for you and even gives you ideas about questions to ask, which is amazing. Once you personalize this, you've got to fill in that pink. You do have to do a little bit of work. All you do is request the call. The alumni gets a prompt on their end that you're requesting a call with them. They select some dates and times, send those back to you, and then you both get a dial-in conference call number. You both call in at the designated time and have a great conversation. So these are just some of the ways that postgraduate planning and experiential education can help introduce you to CASE and careers and all sorts of opportunities to engage and to network. Again, you'll find us at case.edu/postgrad. And whoops, it didn't go back to my website. All right, well, let's see if it'll do it, if I can get it to go. Just see, there we go. All right. And again, that's our website. So here's where you're gonna find Handshake, just a quick review. Here's where you're gonna find the First Destination Survey. Here's where you're gonna find the Career Search Guide for help with resumes. And if you'd like to request an appointment to meet with us, we'd love to meet with you. You can just click there and request an appointment. And while we're virtual and we realize that students are off campus, we have extended our hours to accommodate students that are across the country and across the world. So thanks for your time. We look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you so much, Laura. A lot of great information. And as I mentioned in the chat, we will be sharing the slides as well as some additional information with everyone after the event. At this point, we're going to switch gears a little bit and take some questions. In addition to our CWRU navigator and representative from Office of Postgraduate Planning and Experiential Education, we also have with us Elizabeth Miller from the International Student Services Center for International Affairs. Thank you for joining us as well, Elizabeth. We appreciate that.
Thank you for having me.
Certainly. And if you are an international student, if you could please raise your hand by clicking on the participants button on your screen. Using the icons, find the blue hand. This will help us to identify you for the breakout room session that will follow the Q&A session. And that way we can put you into one single breakout session with Elizabeth. So if you have some specific questions, Elizabeth will be happy to help you. So we'll start off. I'm going to jump back with Michael, if I could. We had a number of different questions that came in. Obviously, top of mind for everyone pretty much around the country and around the world is the COVID-19 pandemic. And so there's quite a few questions that came in regarding that as people were registering. Will there be any changes with tests or exams proctoring? And will masks be mandatory?
So yeah, I know there's a lot of questions about that. Certainly understandable. And I know as far as I'm aware, what we were told is that the mask wearing will be mandatory in all buildings, and that'll be an expectation for everybody. I think, you know, best practice would be even when you're not in a building, when you're out and about and you're around others, I think everyone would be encouraged to wear masks. As far as exam proctoring, I don't know exactly what the procedure is going to be for exams that are given during the academic year, although I know that, you know, in years past, or not in years past, we only did this once before, last semester in the spring. But I think that for the final exams, I know that those are all planned to be given remotely. The exams during this semester, I imagine, will be done, if in person, will be done in a way that allows everybody to spread out in a socially distanced manner. Oftentimes large classes, even before COVID-19, for exams, if there was a larger class, the exams would be spread out over multiple locations and students would be given lots of space in order to protect academic integrity. So that's something we're used to doing for different reasons, and I think it'll translate over into how exams are given during this semester with the social distancing requirements.
Awesome, thank you. And so in addition to that, with there's a number of different campus resources that a number of you had some questions on, going through some of the smaller classrooms, labs, and common areas in residence halls, the library, ThinkBox. Could you touch on that a little bit as well, Michael?
Yeah, so I think all those, from what I understand, all the spaces will still be accessible to students. I saw some communication just the other day about how Kelvin Smith Library plans to remain open and accommodate students while still adhering to all those safety guidelines. So, I mean, no doubt it's going to look different than it would during a regular semester. But I think one of the things that the campus and university community has been thinking about all along, but especially this summer, is how do we allow for the sort of the richest possible on-campus experience that we can for students, because we recognize that For a lot of students, I mean, when we surveyed our students back at the beginning of the summer, we heard loud and clear from students that what they really wanted above all else was to be back on campus and be around their peers. Obviously, we have to do that safely. I mean, that's going to be the number one concern, is making sure everybody stays safe. But we know that what students value most is that on-campus experience. You know, even academics, you know, of course, you want to learn as much as you possibly can, and there's different ways of doing that, but students want to engage with each other. And so those common spaces, those, you know, nights of studying together, I mean, there's you know, like I said, it's going to look different, but we want to be able to provide a lot of as much interaction as we possibly can in a safe way.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. So switch over to Arnold. We had a parent, Nathan Schultz, who would like to get an alumnus's view on what were the best experiences that you remember having at CWRU.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. You know, the thing I always remember is just the variety of challenges every day, and that you were never complacent in what you were able to accomplish, and you knew that the next day would always bring a new thing to learn, a new thing to challenge yourself. And so the amount of things I would say that I learned in that 4-year period was extraordinary compared to pretty much any period in my life, because we were doing so many different things. And so, you know, that's one of the main takeaways I have from my time on campus. The second thing I would say is really the relationships you form, because you can't do it all by yourself. And if you try to do it all by yourself, you're gonna be overworked, you're gonna be overstressed, and you really should build bonds, build friendships, build relationships with folks around you that, whether they're in the same classes or not, they're certainly going through the same challenges as you are. And so having that network of relationships and friends will help you get through those challenges every single day. And again, as mentioned before, those bonds that were formed during my 4 years on campus are still there today.
Awesome. Thank you, Arnold. Laura, this one is for you. Krisha Kieran from Cedar Falls, Iowa asked, with the COVID restrictions in place, will there still be opportunities for research, job shadowing, and volunteering?
That's a great question. So research, as I mentioned, we have an office within our office called SOURCE, Student Opportunities for Undergraduate Research Endeavors. I would highly recommend Handshake, as I talked about. There will be events posted, and SOURCE will be having information sessions about on-campus research opportunities. There are still opportunities for research, both virtually and also in person, so they can tell you more about that. As far as volunteering goes, there are definitely opportunities to volunteer. Our office, CECL, which is Center for Civic Engagement and Learning, works specifically with students around finding volunteer opportunities. So they are right in our main student union, and I would definitely get involved with them if you're interested in volunteering. And what was the third thing, Chris?
The third item was job shadowing.
Job shadowing. So with job shadowing, we do offer, especially for first and second year students, a program in the spring called Career Connections through our office. Students apply to the program and let us know what kind of career they're interested in shadowing and where they'll be spending their spring break. And we hand match a student with an alum in that area, in the career interested area, and also the geographic area. We work in collaboration with the Alumni Association and have wonderful alumni hosts. So even this year, as we were moving off campus, students were out doing career connections, and the alums still made that program happen. So definitely keep an ear out for that program.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. The Kwok family from Honolulu had asked, are you able to mail items to campus before we arrive? And is storage available over the summer? And I think this might be a good one for Michael.
The mailing things to campus, I believe that is possible. I know that each of the, the North Residential Village and the South Residential Village, they each have what's called an area office, and that's the sort of central administrative building that's in that section of the residential area. And you can mail packages to those area offices, and then they hold them for the students. Now, when they actually will start receiving those packages and the details like that, I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's something that you could always follow up with the housing office on, or students could ask their navigator. Navigator could help them find the specific answers to those kinds of questions. And I would say the same thing for storage. I believe there is opportunities for that, but I'm not familiar with the particulars of those off the top of my head, but we would connect with housing and find out more about that on your behalf.
Thank you, Michael. Joy Liao from Taipei City, Taiwan, inquired about how to best manage my time, choose activities wisely, especially if someone is doing classes remotely for this term.
So time management is one of the big questions I think a lot of students have starting out. Obviously a college schedule looks a lot different than a high school schedule. You've got classes that meet 2 times a week, 3 times a week. Some students are used to that kind of thing if you come from a place that does block scheduling. But for a lot of students, it's kind of a newer setup. You find yourself with a lot of time maybe in between classes that at first you might not be exactly sure how to use. And then when you get on campus, there's going to be no shortage of student organizations or different activities that are going to be sort of calling out to you to get involved with. And so sometimes it's a question of what should I be doing, but how do I sort of limit myself and not overwhelm or overcommit. We do have as navigators, we do work a lot with students on these things on a more individual basis. So your navigator is a good person to help you out with that sort of thing in general. And I think too, with the remote classes, taking them at home instead of on campus still presents, its own, set of challenges, just getting adapted to that new schedule, and having to do a lot of studying sort of in a new way, in a way that, is more maybe self-directed, self-guided. And so a navigator is a good person who can sort of help you assess the skills that you bring with you and which ones maybe you need to develop or to improve on, and to come up with a good plan that's going to work for you.
So time management's a big part of the transition over to college. It's certainly a difficult part of it. This one is going to be for Arnold. She has a great question. Susan Dorr has a great question for you. What did you wish you knew when you were a freshman that would have made your first year easier?
That is a great question. I don't know that it would make it easier, but the piece of advice I would give is the campus is really broad and kind of long in nature. And I would say one of the things that, depending on which side of campus you live on, there are elements on both ends of the campus that are really interesting and valuable to the overall campus life. And that when you get there, you should really try to take the time to take in the whole campus, understand where things are and the value of being on one end versus the other. Because obviously a lot of the stuff from a schooling standpoint happens in the center, right on the campus, main quad there, and short distances from there. But as you go further to the north and south ends of the campus, there's just so much there that once you get into the throes of school and you're really busy, you may not have the chance to kind of explore all those elements of campus. So that would be a piece of advice I would give as far as really getting to know the campus really well and understanding everything that it has to offer, and even the elements that are near campus, like the museums and the arts and things like that.
Awesome. Thank you, Arnold. So this one's going to actually be for both Laura and Arnold. I'll start with Laura. Tony Adufi from Cypress, Texas, had asked, what sort of connections do you have if you leave the Ohio area? And I know you kind of touched on it briefly, Laura, but obviously in the Texas area, I think is kind of where he was looking. But maybe you could speak to that a little bit more.
Sure. So we've got a great alumni base in Texas. We also do have employers that we work with down in Texas. But with our resources that we use, there are ways that we can help you job search if there's a specific industry you're looking for or a specific area that you're looking for, and can help make those connections and help you find those opportunities.
Yeah, and to add to that, I would really encourage, like Laura talked about, the Wiser platform. Get involved, get your profile out there, check it, frequently, and join some of the communities, because you can get connected with folks pretty readily and pretty easily there. The second element of that would be, I would say that through LinkedIn, if you were looking for folks from Case Western Reserve, you're going to find them, and they're going to be more than happy to communicate with you if you connect with them on LinkedIn as well. So, as proud alumni, we would all accept those outreaches from newly graduating students looking to find their way. And Laura's right, we have these alumni affiliations all throughout the country in different cities. And so through the Wiser platform, again, you can get connected to the nearest group near you as far as the alumni group, and get plugged in.
And then Arnold, so in addition, Tony was asking, how did Case prepare you for your career? Were you able to pay off your debt quickly? And did you study abroad, and when?
So I did not study abroad. I would say, the travel experience I got was actually through playing athletics. The first plane ride I took was actually playing for the basketball team in my life. So that was my first experience of getting on an airplane. So I did not study abroad. I was fortunate enough through between loans and then some grants and things of that nature that I was able to get. I didn't have a terrible amount of loans when I came out of school. So I think I had my loans paid off within 4 or 5 years after school. And that was pretty, relieving once you round that corner, if you will. So I wouldn't get too worried about that, because the university will certainly, there's opportunities for continued funding. I think it was coming from my sophomore year into my junior year, I was able to get one of the Case Engineering grants as well. So there's opportunities, even if not in the first year when you get on the campus, other ways to help augment the cost of the school. And certainly with the education you'll get coming out of school, you have the opportunity to likely earn more as good as many others from other universities, and landing a good job. And if you're smart about it, and you save your money and you use that money to pay off your loans, you can get in and out of those loans pretty quickly.
Well, the good news is we do also have from the international department, we have Elizabeth Miller, and I'm sure she could probably speak to a little bit more about our study abroad program.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So I will put in the chat the website for my office. I work in the Center for International Affairs. So our office is at case.edu/international. Very simple, easy to remember. And at case.edu/international, you can find international student services and also study abroad. If you are interested in studying abroad, we have opportunities that go all over the world, throughout Europe, throughout Africa, throughout Asia. We have opportunities in South America, Oceania. We genuinely can take students pretty much to anywhere they want to go. There are myriad opportunities, and I recommend if you're interested in studying abroad, you start early by emailing our colleagues. Their email is super easy to remember, and I'll put it in the chat. It's studyabroad@case.edu. At case.edu. There you go, in the chat. Studyabroad@case.edu. What they can do is if you have an area of interest, they can help you plan your course schedule so that you meet all of the requirements and you get to study abroad while meeting those requirements. So we have engineering students who think, oh, I could never study abroad, but you can. No matter what your major is, you can go somewhere, you can study somewhere. So our study abroad staff works with our navigators, so they work with Michael's office to make sure that students have everything that they need and they're meeting all their course requirements, they're graduating on time. You can use financial aid and scholarships and study abroad. We also have scholarships available in our office, so there's so many opportunities. I really encourage all of you to take advantage of it, whether it is a week for spring break, it's a summer where you go for the month of May, or it's a semester or a year. We have options from 1 week to 1 year, anything in between. So I really recommend reaching out to study abroad at case.edu, getting that first appointment in, and learning about your opportunities.
Thanks, Elizabeth. It really sounds like you make that very simple and easy to do, so that's great. We're running short on time, so I'm going to just go down to our last couple of questions here. If we didn't get your question answered, please know we're going to do our very best to try to follow up with everyone to answer those questions. We'll also provide some additional resources after the event to make sure that you have access to answers. And if we still haven't answered, then we'll give you our contact information as well. Please feel free to reach out to either myself or anyone else in our office or any of our other presenters here this evening, and they'd be happy to answer your questions. This one I'm going to throw back to Michael. A few of our guests had asked, how are the required is there required safety education and trainings that are going to be administered as students come on campus? What types of topics are covered in those trainings?
So yes, my understanding is that that's going to be part of the orientation program, or what we call our Discover Days. There will be an overview of the all the safety requirements for students as they come on campus, and that's obviously geared towards our new students. But then I've also been asked to partner with some colleagues. We're doing similar kinds of reorientation programs for returning students as well. So all students, as they come back onto campus, will be made aware of all those safety requirements, procedures, protocols, and there will be more information about that shared to students through our first year experience office in the coming weeks.
Great, thank you. So the last question I'm going to throw over to Shimmy Williams from our office. And a number of our guests here this evening had asked, what types of connections are available for alumni post-graduation? And is there somewhere where we can learn more about alumni connections and events for alumni?
Absolutely. So we have over 115,000 living alumni, and to connect them, we have about 24 domestic chapters, about 5 developing chapter areas, and we have 8 international chapters as well. And all of those keep growing, and they're really active, and that's how we're going to connect you regionally with one another after you graduate. We also have a lot of volunteer activities and programs. So we have some volunteer opportunities that are more local to Cleveland, such as the Summer on the Cuyahoga program, where alumni volunteers will be chosen as mentors for students that are interning here in Cleveland during the summer. We have more broad volunteer programs, such as the Alumni Mission Ambassador program, which some of you may have been contacted by an alumnus that's part of that program. Alumni and Mission Ambassadors are helping us recruit the next class of students, and they're following up with admitted students and keeping in touch with you over the summer. We have some unique programs that are fairly new. The Study Abroad Alumni Connections program will connect international alumni with students who are studying abroad in their country. So the student automatically has a connection to an alumnus when they're over there and can get some helpful information from them. We also are developing a lot of programs to fit with our new virtual atmosphere. So Arnold Huffman, who is with us, was part of the remote entrepreneurship program. In that program, and that program was put on by the Postgraduate Planning and Experiential Education Office and the new CWRU Veal Institute for Entrepreneurship. We reached out to alumni to provide remote short-term internships for students. And so hopefully, you know, you become an alumnus, you become successful, you become the new founder, CEO of a company, and we're going to reach out to you to see if you have some programs that students can help with, some projects over the summer to gain some valuable experience and information. So between our chapters that are grouping you and bringing events and programs, I will say, we typically host this summer send-off program in person in the top 10 cities domestically, and we usually do 2 or 3 internationally as well. What's really kind of cool about this new virtual aspect is we're able to connect with a bunch of you more broadly across the US. So if you are in St. Louis and we wouldn't have visited you in person, you're able to connect with us here. So we're constantly, you know, developing our programs, and we're hoping to stay connected with you for many, many more years, whether you're volunteering or you're speaking or you're joining us at a happy hour, or you're volunteering at a food bank in your local community. We have a ton of opportunities, and you can find more information by going to case.edu/alumni and kind of navigating through our website there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shami. So that's actually the conclusion of our official programming this evening. We'd like to thank you all again for joining us. I would encourage you to stick around. We will be breaking you out into some breakout rooms, so you have an opportunity to meet and greet with some other incoming students. We'll separate the international students. Again, please make sure you have your hands raised so we can make sure to get you into the breakout room with Elizabeth. And we'll have those opened for 30 minutes. And we hope that you have an opportunity to kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about maybe what you're excited about coming to CWRU for, what you're most excited about doing once you get on campus. We'd love to hear from you. So please make sure you turn on your cameras. We'd love to see your smiling faces. And we'd hope that you have an opportunity to chat with some other people in the area. Thanks so much again.
Yeah. All right, Chris. So I have set up breakout rooms. I'm going to open those rooms shortly. We are assigning a staff member from our staff to help facilitate some introductions. But these are very informal. They're casual. They're conversational. We want you guys to kind of get to know each other. So enjoy.